It's that black box here up on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's the terminal or the command prompt. Right. So back on the Word. So the first thing you do is you type in sudo space net discover, and that's basically running an administrator command, and it'll ask you for the password. And all the passwords are generally the same. It's written in the document on the hypervisor machine. So once we get mine loaded up, I'll show you what the passwords are again. But that's the password there. Capital PRSSW0RD. So you put the password.
Yeah, I remember.
That's that, cool. And it starts scanning for a while. It takes a bit of time, but eventually with 1 or 2 IP addresses, it's basically saying, well, these are all live devices that may be on the network. And that's where you make screenshots, of course. Make sure you don't forget screenshots, because all these screenshots will be put together into the report. Right, and the report's
is there like a there like a template of the report, so I know like what I'm meant to be like copying?
There's a template, and I've put in a 2/3 of an example one as well, so you can look through the example one as well.
Right, okay.
After that, you type in ifconfig, and this gives you your IP address, your Kali machine. So again, that's something else you can screenshot. Right, so it's right there next to it says iNet, it's right next to there. And then further down, start using this one called nmap. I'll just check to see if my machine's booted up yet, but I don't think it will be. Oh, it is, it's running. So I'm going to connect to my machine just to see it. Remember, the password here is college 2020 with capital C. College 2020. There we go. So I like to call it the hypervisor, so we don't get any words mixed up. But it's basically a Windows 10 machine. So run this thing called Hyper-V Manager. Fire that up. Don't know why there was multiple. And then it should be it. That's taking ages. It's just the one that's running, isn't it? Yeah.
I was going to say it's not showing.
Yeah.
You're popping up yet. That's a bit slow.
Well, I'm on the bit where it's loading up the virtual machines. It's maybe on my connection then. Right, what we'll do is, let me see. This is 7.1. So I'll connect to it. I think it's either my internet connection or it's Azure's themselves. What's that? Get a wee error there. That's mine. I'll probably restart mine from the beginning. Power mine off. Delete saved state should probably fix. I'll probably do that with Kali as well. Right, I'll try 7 again. There you go, it seems to be working now. We'll start that one minute. So as the Windows 7 machine is starting up, all the usernames and passwords are there on the hypervisor machine, just on the left hand side. So you can see down this list here, the Windows 7 Username is root and the password's p@ssw0rd with a capital P. So put in the password there, p@ssw0rd. I'll fill that one on. If I ask to activate stuff, just ignore it. Somebody's going to wait for that message about the network to connect to. And it's their home network, so I'm going to fire that on there. And then close that. So that's your Windows 7 machine definitely up and running. One thing you can do if you want to is use the command prompt and type in ipconfig. And it'll actually give you the IP address that you're going to scan for anyway. But obviously that's sort of cheating. But at least you know it's got an IP address. It's a 172 address. So we know that's there, machine's up and running quite happily. Then obviously after that we get the Kali one to start up. Do it. And of course, the Kali doesn't take too long to load up. And this one you have to put a username in as well. I think the username was user. Kali user password, yeah. So type in user, and just type in password. I'm going to minimize the hypervisor manager, just get rid of that. Obviously I'm okay, I've got a relatively big monitor, but if you've got a smaller monitor, you'll have trouble stacking these up next to each other. It's never good. So we're on this machine now, there's the terminal, just grab a black box there, terminal emulator. And that's just sitting pretty. So it's sudo, and it was netdiscover netdiscover's all one word. And put the password in, p@ssw0rd. And that's it starting to capture stuff, so that might take a little bit of time. While it's doing that, I'll go back to the document again. So it's going to do the netdiscover. There's lots of places to do those screenshots. But eventually we'll get an IP address to play with, and we'll use this nmap command. Where you see words like target in capitals, it's not that word you type in. What you do is you type in a suitable value. In this case, it's going to be an IP address. It'll be one of the IP addresses that you find. Right, so that is nmap, and there's a space, and then there's a little dash there, but I'll use the word tac because that's the way they like to see it now. So nmap space tac lowercase s capital V. So that means it's trying to detect any sort of services that might be there. Space tac capital P lowercase n, and that basically means it can try and remain hidden from the target so it doesn't really detect it. Then a space, and then the IP address of the one you're going to use. And as it goes through it, eventually it finds information. What you're looking for is one of the IP addresses or whatever IP address you've got. It should show up with something like Windows 7 mentioned as part of the operating system. And that's where you know what machine you're on. You're looking for the Windows 7 machine, and that's it basically. I'll jump back to see this. That's really doing something, that's handy. And as you look at the IP address here on the left, that one says 251. This one also says 251. So I basically know I've found it. Right. I could keep it running longer if I wanted to, but I'm going to not. I'm going to press Control C to stop it, and that takes us to here. So that's a nice place to put a screenshot in. So after that's nmap dash, I think pretty sure it's S capital V dash PN, and then your target IP address 192.170.108.251. And that's it there. It says it'll be slower. It does take a bit of time to do this part. And again, it's a time you can walk away and look at the document again. So that's working away, trying to figure this part out. It'll give us some information, but we're really looking for that there. The bit that says it's Windows 7, of course, screenshots again, always screenshots. After that point, we can start working on the vulnerability. And that's where we're trying to find out, is this machine got any vulnerabilities in it? Hopefully it does. And if it does have vulnerabilities, it'll give us messages like this. It'll say risk factor high, vulnerable, and further down it might even tell you what part of it's vulnerable. So just like kind of waiting now, that's the only problem with this. People just assume that computer hacking is as fast as it is in the telly or the movies, but it's not. It does take a bit of time. And even with all the information we know about this network, it still takes a bit of time. So You always find yourself saying, is it finished? Is it broke? It's been 5 minutes already. What do I do next? It's just scanning. What we need to do is wait to get to the end and look at information, and hopefully the prompt comes back up. Again, you might see the Windows stuff telling you it's wrong, it's wrong. It's just because it doesn't have a license key attached to it yet. The college couldn't actually find a valid license key for Windows 7. I thought it was hilarious. They used to have hundreds of them. Well, obviously new people start jobs and things move and get deleted and lost. But it doesn't matter. It's just an ag message. It's not going to affect us anyway. Again, we're still waiting in Cali. And as you can see, as I said, it does take a bit of time. It's nearly 10 to.
That was the thing I remembered when we did the ethical hacking unit in the college. It was the time it took, and students thought they were doing it wrong because it took that much time. But it's just like, say, having the patience and waiting on it, working its way through.
And that's, I mean, I don't like waiting myself. It's like we're all in a, what's the word, a demand culture, aren't we? We want it now. But yes, it takes a bit of time. Had a fella on Tuesday afternoon who was doing it, and I got stopped. He was doing it, and he just quit out the whole thing. I think it was crashed. Anyway, so we now know that's a Windows 7 machine. It's definitely the IP address we got, so that's what we really wanted to see. Again, it's screenshots, just lots and lots of screenshots, which later on, as I said, goes into a template. So next part. Got like here, so over here, in fact, you know, do it side by side, probably could. Let's scroll a bit, just trace it out. There we go, that helps me. So I can side by side it. So the next one you have to put in sudo, which is basically saying this is an administration command. Then nmap, then -pn -v, all these tacks and spaces and dashes. And this one here is 2 dashes or 2 tacks. So tac script vuln. And the only thing you change here is the IP address to the one you've been using. So 172.168.251. So what it's going to do now, again, it might take a bit of time. It's going to try and discover any vulnerabilities. One of my guys on Tuesday couldn't find a vulnerability. It took him about 10 minutes to figure it out. And what he had done is he'd been playing with the Windows 7 machine and he'd updated it. So he updated the machine, therefore closing off the vulnerability. And I was like, why? Why did you do that? So he couldn't find one. He was like, I've been doing this for ages, mate. I can't find it. It was funny at the time when we realised what we'd done. And again, it takes a bit of time. So as you can see in the screenshot here, there's a lot of things, but eventually hopefully comes up with something like that. So all I'm doing is I'm just following the document step by step. There you go. So it's done all sort of stuff here. And up here I can see mine does have the vulnerability and it is high. Now what it's trying to tell me is the name of the vulnerability, and the name of the vulnerability is that MS17 hack 010. Right, so that's the actual thing that you can use, right, to try and get access to this. You need to remember that, or take a screenshot it, obviously, whatever, because you use it next. So, dealing with this, now that we have some information, I'll just move it away. So we've got the my target IP address, what it is. I'm going to use this thing called Metasploit. So you type in msf console, and this thing called the Metasploit framework will load up, and it's for lots of kind of cheating ways to break into machines. Again, it shouldn't take too long to load up. Now, people find this tool a little bit confusing because of the way they've organised it. But once you realise what they've done, it becomes a little bit easier to understand. So straight away it's loaded up. So some people get different pictures. Somebody come up with a clamshell at some point, but I don't know why it was that, but they come up with different pictures of different things. So we've got the prompt. So it says, that's a prompt there, that's the Metasploit prompt. We have to use commands, and there's that 17 thing I said about. So you type in search. You're looking for this thing here, which is the exploit, or which pointing towards. So I've typed in exactly what I see there. And it finds lots of occurrences of it. Right, lots and lots of occurrences. I'll scroll down again. Notice they're all kind of highlighted, etc. There is two ways of doing this. You can type use and then space and then type in the exact path on these exploits, which takes too long. Right? What you can do instead, you can use a number. You can see that each one of these lines have a number that it increments. Right? So it starts at 0 and goes to 4. And in this example here, we're going to use this one here that says number 1. Right? So I'm going to type in use 1. Right? Now the writing's changed, it's went a bit red, so that tells you you're actually using this thing now. So that saved a lot of time instead of typing it all in. What we can do is do this thing called show options. You don't necessarily have to do that, but in here it gives you a list of things you can alter and edit and change. And we're going to alter this thing called R hosts. Right? I'll just scroll down. Now what R hosts will do is it's basically saying the remote host or the computer you want to attack. So set R hosts, right? And I'll maximize this to remind myself the IP address on the right hand side. It was a 172.107.251. Right, so this thing called set R hosts, right? Next thing I can do is just type in exploit.
So you're hacking your own machine then?
Oh, exploit with the top capitals. No, I'm hacking this machine here on the right, the Windows 7 machine.
Yeah, no, but you're hacking like the machine that you're using as well.
No, you're only aiming it towards that other machine.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, so I hit exploit, I put a up capital by mistake there. So lowercase there. And when you type it in, it should say the host is likely vulnerable to the MS17010. So you know that's probably working fine. Next thing to do is I'll do that search again. Search for MS17. Here's that list again. What I want to do now is use the number 2 version. It says it's called Eternal Blue at the end of the name, so I'll do use 2. Right, and as you can see, the writing change down here to Eternal Blue. Again, I can do show options, but I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to set the R host again. And the R host will be again the 172 machine, the one that's over there, the one that's the Windows 7 machine. 251. Right, they'll do another exploit, and this should get us a bit further in. Again, it'll take a little bit of time, but remember all this is documented in the handout, so all this stuff I'm doing, it's in here. There's the use to setting the R hosts up, doing the exploit, takes a bit of time as I just said there. But eventually I'll hopefully get to a prompt that says that Metasploit. I'll jump back there. So we're actually close to the end. So there's Metasploit there. This is about taking less than 15 minutes to talk about. That's great. So there's Metasploit there. And at this point here, I have to do certain things. What I can do is I can type in help. And there's a list of commands here. There's lots of different things in here that I could try out. I'm only going to try out a couple of things. And link through the list here, there's one up here that says shell. And it says drops into a system command shell. So that basically means is it should go to some sort of command prompt. So watch this. Type in shell. And suddenly I'm on a Windows machine. Right? So that basically means I'm on this machine that's Windows 7. Because you've got this C:/Windows/system32 that I'm looking at. If I type in dir, that's a Windows command. It lists the files that's there. Obviously, it takes a bit of time, it's over the internet, etc. But that's it working. So that's your first piece of evidence you're proving you've actually broken into this machine. Right, you're on it already, so screenshots of this. This is just showing that, look, I've got access to this machine now. Right. There's lots of things you can do, but we'll do is I'll type an exit to come out of that prompt. That takes it back to Metasploit. And again, there's a help command, as I said. And there's lots of things in here you can play with, but I'm going to just run a couple of them and that'll be it. Let me see. What I can use. There's a good one. Look, you can reboot the remote machine, so you can make the Windows 7 machine start again. I won't do that. There's one that says sysinfo, right? It gets information about the remote system, so I'll do that first. Sysinfo. So this queries the Windows 7 machine, gets some information about it. Now I know which Windows 7 build it is. I now know it's running on a 64-bit machine as well. So it's giving me some interesting pieces of information there. What I could do if I wanted to, I could drop back into the shell again. I can't remember the command. I think it is system information. No, it's not system info with space. Oh, what was the command? There's a command I can use. Oh, I can't remember offhand. When you look at the document again, I probably left it in there. So that was a shell. Sysinfo did that. Oh yeah, system info. On the Windows 7 machine, I'll just over here and type in system info. And this is different. What this is doing is it's querying the Windows 7 machine, and the Windows 7 machine is giving me all its information it knows about itself. Giving me lots of detail about it now. I now know it's a Windows 7 Enterprise. What else we got in here? I know how much memory they've got and things like that too. So it's lots of extra information. I don't necessarily need it, but I've got it anyway. If I wanted to, I'm just a bit finishing up here. If I wanted to, I could change to different directories, but I don't have to. At this point, with all the screenshots, that's done that part. Right. What we'll do now is look at the report. Now I'll send the report to you as well. Attach that. And I'm going to go somewhere here. Block 3. I need the bits and pieces here, so there's do you know what? You're better off with the report sample. So I'll open that one up. That's like a template. This one's got partly filled in. So I'll just clean that up. Where will it be? Oh, there's no point. Oh, look at there. So there's a report sample there. Now there is another one that's completely blank. It just has lots of headings, but in this case, I've made one up myself. I coded myself just in time because I thought it was hilarious. And I basically say what I'm going to do. Then I start doing my commands. And there's the first one, net discover, and I put my screenshots in. I was interested in certain things, so I put little bits of red on them just to remind myself. There's the net discover. There's me getting my own IP address with ifconfig. There's me using nmap to find a Windows machine, trying to find it. And I found it, and it's there. Then after that, I used the next nmap to do this vulnerability thing. And eventually it found the vulnerability. Further down, I think it is. It's there, vulnerable. Then at that point there, what did I do? Oh yeah, I wrote down some information about it. Things that I've seen, for example, I could see the IP address, it's Windows 7, etc. But I could also see that there was these ports that were open. That's part of the screenshots. All these ports are open as well, so I just wrote down the numbers and filled it in too. And that's when this example sample runs out, it stops there. Like I said, I didn't do the full thing. I didn't see that'd be a good idea to give you the complete sample report. But instead, I'll send another file, and this is the other one, the kind of blank one. And that should get you ready to get this done. It's in there. Empty. I think it's the one that says empty. And I'll fire that up as well. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh, Jesus Christ, wrong one. I'll send you another file once I figure out which one it is. I thought that was that. Browse. Maybe it's that one there. Yeah, that's it there. I'll send you that just now. So that one just says empty rubbish, so delete that one. Yeah, it always defaults back to another drive. And that'll be that one there, report. So if you look at the report file, you'll see there's lots of blue areas. So that first part's I've covered in my sample report. I've covered that bit in the sample report as well. And all you do is you keep using this and just keep putting all your screenshots in and tell me what it's doing. So each command you have, screenshot, screenshot, screenshot. All the screenshots and commands end up here. Right? And at the very end, you tell me, is it vulnerable or not? Basically say yes, the machine's vulnerable. That's basically it. It's not a lot to it in the end. It's just a matter of running through this and trying not to get confused or lost, and obviously taking your time. You know, not rushing through it, anything like that.
Okay. So the aim of the report is to find out if the device is vulnerable or not.
Yeah, we know it's vulnerable anyway. So
yeah, need to prove it.
Yeah, that's it. With all the proof.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Right, no worries. Remember to watch the videos if you get confused.
Yeah, I will.
Right, cheers.
Thank you, Matty. I actually enjoyed that.
Oh, thanks.
It's nice to see a pro at work.
A pro? I'm a pro. What's the other one? I'm a jack of all trades, but nobody did.
My virtual machines were playing up on Wednesday. I was putting a password in and it wasn't right. And then Ruben said, because I said, has anybody tried this? And it worked, because it definitely worked for me when I was playing with it the other day. And it just wouldn't work. And Ruben was going, no, it did work. And then he told me what password he had. And I'm going, yeah, that's what I'm typing in. And it was just, oh.
What was it with your caps lock here or your double quotes?
No, I don't know what it is because, well, it's a number sequence, so you can't really type it wrong.
Oh, no. Anyway, that's past 4. I feel as if I've done my job.
Okay, well, thank you, Matty, and hopefully that helped Reese.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Aidan would turn up because he was halfway through it.
Yeah.
So we'll see for him. Okay, right, see you later, folks.
Okay, bye.
Bye.